Opposition Industrial Relations spokesman Tony Burke. Thanks for your time. Let's start with your plans or the proposal when it comes to gig workers, the gig economy, Uber drivers and so on. What have you got planned on that front? We see some policy information gradually being released. What are your plans, your thinking on that?
Yeah, look, the first thing is, Kieran, we need to establish what cannot be allowed to go on, and it's this. We cannot have a situation in Australia where some people are working below the minimum wage. We can't have a situation in Australia where we set a legal minimum and then for a whole lot of people in the gig economy, we say, oh, but you don't count. And what's the reason the platforms say they don't count? They say, oh no, but they're not employees, they're independent contractors. Now, I'll tell you, someone driving their own heavy vehicle, they've got a mortgage over it, they employ someone to do the bookkeeping. There is no doubt that they're an independent contractor. But I just don't accept for a minute that the visa worker with a second-hand bike, racing and running traffic lights trying to make ends meet, has that sort of strength, that sort of independence. And the end point is, right now, we have third world working conditions in a first world country. That can't be allowed to go on.
So how do you ensure at least the minimum wage for those individuals?
Well, and we're getting to an announcement.
It's tricky, isn't it?
That's right. And what's happened so far is it's been, oh, are they employees? Are they not employees? How do we deal with this? We're saving a number of announcements for next week. But the principle is this. If you believe in a minimum wage for Australia, then you've got to be willing to apply it. And at the moment, for gig workers, some people will get minimum wage, they'll get enough shifts, they'll get it done, but there are other people who are working for rates of pay that are otherwise unlawful in Australia. But
it's challenging, isn't it? Because they have minimal contact with their employers, many of these individuals, when you're talking about the autonomy they've got as gig workers, but they don't have the same traditional sort of contact you would have with your boss?
Look, it depends on the job. You think of, there's a series of jobs where people will call in for shifts and will get shifts or not. Not every job takes place at a workplace. The real difference here, and the way the technology operates, I'll tell you, the technology monitors some of these workers much more closely than any employer normally will. Okay. They'll have GPS tracking, they'll be checking how fast. I've met someone who lost a whole lot of shifts because it was discovered he delivered something by catching a train. He'd travelled at the wrong pace and he'd been GPS tracked. So, let's not pretend these apps aren't watching their workforce closely. They are. They're just pretending that the people working for them are somehow all independent contractors, and they aren't all independent contractors.